Hello friends, this is Wendy, and I am a scrapbooker, a junk journaler, a paper crafter. Today I am a finisher. I have just finished all of my Christmas cards. They're going to go out in the mail tomorrow. I have also finished all of my ornaments that I'm giving away to people that are local. Now I am going to finish a scrapbook that I have been working on for a year. No, not every day. Gosh, obviously not enough at all for my dear friend Haley. So the first thing I am doing is I am measuring. I didn't want to, well, that's going to get cut anyway. I am measuring 1/4 of an inch and 1/2 of an inch. This is not regular copy paper. This is 32-pound paper, so it's more substantial. I'm going to fold it. The first one I did, I used 65-pound paper. That was too heavy. So let me tell you what I'm going to do. So the first thing I did is I cut this down to 5.5 inches. Okay, future me here, I lied. So I cut 1/2 inch off. So instead of it being 6.5 inches, it is now 6 inches by 8 inches. Well, it's a little shy of 8, ever so slightly less than 8. So 6 by 8. Okay, and I'll just show you now since it's future me. This is what it ends up looking like. It's going to be stitched here, and it's going to go like that. I'll show you the next page, which is this. So here's the difference. The book, all of the pages are 6 inches, and this is 6.5. You can take off, see if you can see. So you can see the holes where the stapler was. You can see those. Well, you can see them better on this side where the stapler was. So I am going to take, like I've already done it on this one. So I have room to take a little bit off of this side. The better chunk of the 1/2 inch I'm going to take off of this side, and then just a little bit off of this side. I've already done it with this page. So let me cut along this line. So I have the 1/4 of an inch, which has been scored, and the 1/2 of the inch, I actually folded it, which will make it easier for me to cut. Okay, so now it's cut. I'm going to fold it. Okay. I'm going to open these up the way I'm going to glue them. I did, the very first time doing this, I did make mistakes. In fact, I started writing the numbers on them, page 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that I knew that page 2 and 3 were facing out. So let's see if I can do this without having to write that on there. And I'm going to glue down just one side. I prefer the glue to the tape. I've mentioned this before. My tape is actually really good tape, and it sticks the very first time that you put it down, which is all fine and good unless you put it down a little bit crooked, and then, yeah, not good. So this is gonna go here. Make sure that it's on there right. Okay. Now I'm gonna go here. Okay, so what I used to do is I used to fold the pages in on each other so that they were I don't know how to explain it. They overlapped. And it works just fine. I just think this is a little less labor intensive. So, little less labor. That's what we're always looking for, a little less labor. Also, it's fine that I have that little piece right there for my stitching. So, all right. So now I am going to do the next page. Also, I cut this down, so instead of it being 8.5 this way, it's only 8. Yes. So I can go like this. Look at me. Look at me already messing up. Sorry. Let's see, what did I do with my thingamabob? Here it is. So I'm using this cut-off piece to make sure I have this facing the right way. So it's going to be like this and this. Okay, so you probably saw that I was able to move this. I glued it down not evenly, and so then I moved it around and was able to glue it again. If I had used my double-sided tape, that would never have happened. Okay, so I am at the point, it's a new day. I'm in a new shirt. It's a little warmer today. I'm in a long sleeve t-shirt instead of a sweatshirt with another shirt underneath. And I have made, okay, so this particular junk journal is going to be a gift, and I've already done 2 signatures, and I bought these papers. Actually, I bought them for her, and for her Halloween. She really likes to go to Oogie Boogie Bash, and so I put these together. I didn't like what was here. It had die cuts with a view, you know, that DCWV all over this, so I had to put something over it. And after I did that, I thought, okay, I'm just going to stitch it in. And then I realized, okay, though my friend will be perfectly happy with this the way it is. I don't know that I can do that just sending with these blank pages. So I thought I would use Louisa Heinzel's, what is it called? What is it? She calls it the foolproof method. I don't have any real Halloween stuff. I have this, which looks an awful lot like Haunted Mansion. I know that Tim Holtz is a huge Disney fan, and though he doesn't take any of the copyright, he certainly likes stuff to look similar, to remind him of, right? So I think I'm just going to do some here. I probably should tape it down because I want to come around and stamp in it. So maybe I'll just do like these 2 up here. That's probably a really good idea. So I'll stamp this, I'll tape it here. I don't know, you can't see the bottom. Let me move this up so you can see the bottom. And I'm going to tape it at the top because, as you can see, I can wiggle and move. So I just want to make sure that it's on the paper as well as on my mat. Because if I only tape this to the mat, then I can pull the paper right out. And done that. Been there, done that. Don't ask me how I know. I do know. All right. So my friend likes gray. So I'm going to choose gray colors. Really neutral. And that works really well, I think, when you are giving it as a gift. Just because then, regardless of what photo she's going to put in there, it'll be fine for the photos, because you can put any color photo and have gray behind it. Okay, so I chose this from Reflections. And actually, I'm going to do it the way that Louisa Heinzel does it. I'm just going to put the ink on here and then stick it on here. And she pushes down. I know I've tried this before where I've left it on one of those and the impression did not get through past the plastic onto the paper. Ooh, look at that. I'm not going to do much more. This really is going to be a scrapbook for her. She's going to put photos on here. So this isn't going to be all fancy like Louisa does or other people do. This is going to be pretty simple, but it's the way my friend likes it. So yeah. I like these brushes better than the sponges. They make a much nicer print. Okay, so I want to do a quick flip through of these. I used another one of Tim Holtz. I think it's called Brushed Hexagons. And instead of words, which I do think the words do better, like, you know, I tried to do like a coffee stain sort of a thing, and it's all right. But I did something here and hated it, and so I put paper over it. Yeah, and then there we go. So that's done, and she can put photos on it. Okay, so I'm going to call this my hybrid book because I have my first signature, my second signature, and then this one is empty so that my friend can add whatever she wants in it. I am thinking 2 inches is going to be perfect. I will stitch them a little further apart so that there is room on this bottom one. Here, I'll flip it over. So you can see this one's fat and this one's fat and this one is flat because there's nothing in it. But I'll stitch it further out so that there is room. So this is now, make sure it's the right, I cut it the right size. I'll tell you right now, I don't remember a year ago when I was taking this apart. I don't know whether I had a hard time taking this off. I have since heard to steam it or to heat it with my gun, with my heating tool. I think that'll be just right. So the first thing I am going to do is make my template. So when you're doing just 3 signatures, that's the easiest one. So just fold this in half. I did this 2 inches by 8 inches. It's probably ever so slightly less than 8 inches. So now I am going to fold this in to that fold. This is where inking always helps me see. Maybe I'm going to do that. I'm just going to make the rest of this a little easier on me. That really did make life so much better. So if it's going to be a 2-inch, then it's 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. So perfect. Okay, so then to make the 5, so I did this on my scoreboard, and I did, in fact, I'm going to get my little ink pen. All right. So this first one, this is a 1/2 inch this way and 1 inch this way. So there's a dot right there, and then there's a dot there, and then helps when it's folded, a dot right there. So that's 1 inch down, 1/2 in. That's 1 inch in. That's a 1/2 an inch in, right? So now this was at 2.5 inches. This was at 4 inches. This was at, I flipped it around. So again, this was 2.5 inches. And this was now 1 inch. So 1 inch, and then 2.5 inches, and then 4 inches. Flip it around, 1 inch, 2.5 inches, 4 inches. Okay, and I'm going to just arbitrarily pick a top. Here we go, top. Got to have a top. So now I'm going to cut 2 that are 1 inch by 8 inches. Is this exactly 8 inches? Let me get my ruler out. This is exactly 8 inches. Some of the older ones are ever so slightly less. So I'm going to cut 2 1 by 8s. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to cover this up so that I can make my my cover exactly the way that I always make it. So I'm going to get some, I've decided to use this for my spine. Let's see if you can see that. There we go. And so I'm going to use that here. It's not quite a 1/2 an inch. It's less than a 1/2 an inch. So I am going to put some black paper on first, just really thin black paper. And then I'm going to cover it with this. So if you haven't watched me do this before, you may say, Wendy, why are you putting this on here? Because I want this to be one piece. I don't want it to bend here where Little Golden Books decided it was to bend. I want it to bend here on the end, and you'll see why. Anyway, it wasn't staying down real good, and you know, these binder clips are just the best things ever. Okay, I'm gonna do the next one. Okay, I did the cart before the horse right now, sorry. First, I take my Tyvek, and I've already put my Fabric Fix on my, this is 2x8. Okay, I could have used any other glue on here since it's paper to paper basically, but I wasn't thinking. Now this is part of a fat quarter. I cut it so this is 5 inches. I'm pretty sure I was very generous. I would rather be generous than not, and making sure that it all works out. So I am gonna first take my Fabric Fix and glue this to this. Okay, so I want to make sure that this butts up against this cardboard here. It makes a nice crease, so there's a place for it to fold. Same with this one. Okay, note to self, oops, okay. I'm not gonna make it any bigger than the white, possibly a little bigger. I'm not gonna do that in the future. I kinda use my scissors and kinda cut it up a bit, and I'm not 100% happy with the results, but it really wasn't the end of the world. So anyway, I'm gonna continue on. Okay, so I decided I'm going to use this paper here. So it's going to be kind of half on here and half on here. So it doesn't matter that I made a little bit of a mess over here. I would say nobody is going to notice, but I'm putting this on video, so, yeah, they're probably all going to know. And I'm going to go back to my PVA glue. Okay, so I really like the way this looks. I like the way the front looks. It's got a nice bend to it, and now it's time to stitch. And I'm telling you, a stitcher's best friend is the awl. So the first thing I'm going to do is mark these. top. If you remember, as we were making this, we wrote top. And we're putting top at the top. Okay. And now we are going to poke our holes. I have a book. I got it at a thrift store. And this way I can poke right into the book instead of into my hand. Because I'm telling you what, that hurts. So I'm just poking through, making sure I get a nice big hole. Well, not real big, but a good sized hole. I'm just gonna go around, now that I've poked the hole, I'm gonna go around and make sure it's as deep as I like it. Okay, so after filming yesterday, I decided to run a bead of glue down in this cavity here and here. And I also used my binder clips for that. And now we are on day 3 and I'm back in my red. So I like to be able to actually see where my holes are. Let's see, there's one I can see right there. The rest are all hidden. I just got this at Walmart. I'm gonna put a little squirt. If it's white or a lighter color, then I will use a black permanent marker. But for this, I'm just gonna use, I had to look this up because I'm tired of calling it a ball thingy. I do like the word thingy though. But I got tired of calling it that, and I want to call it by its official name. And it's a ball stylus. Who knew? I mean, you probably did. Somebody out there is going, yeah, it's a stylus. They say it is used for like putty and clay. Oh, let's see, I missed the hole there. I want to make sure that I know that that is where the hole is. Now, just to let you know, if you do this with a paper spine, wow, that hole is not very well defined. If you do it with a paper spine, the holes show up a whole lot better on paper. See, and I'm not seeing this one at all. There we are. There we go. Kind of have to feel it. And when I'm trying to stitch, that is a problem. So I've decided, actually I decided this a long time ago, that I am much happier when I can see what I'm doing. So after like the very first one, I decided, actually my very, very first one was paper. You may say, well, if it's so much easier in paper, why would you switch to fabric? And it has everything to do with the hinge. I'm gonna let this dry a second. Okay, so I am going to, I'll start over here. I'm going to put my awl in, give it my awl. Yeah, that never gets old. I'm gonna put that in, I'm gonna pull this out. I can see the hole, and I'm gonna make my mark. Okay, so we're gonna bring this back out. Here's the top, and we're going to punch all of these. Let me find the center. There's a couple of, I guess I want another clip or two. Pull them out. I keep a bunch of these in my jar. I bought a big box of these, and I just keep some in a jar, but okay, so I've never done this before. I know other people do it all the time. That's why I decided I would do it. But I personally have never done it before where I have multiple size. I just need to find the middle. Is that the middle? It sure is. Okay. I'm thinking with 5, I should be able to stitch through this smaller one, at least with 2 stitches. And the thing that I personally try to do the most is make sure that that they're all really close together. You know, they're just all nice and tight in there. So, still wiggling a little bit. All right. So then you put this in here, and this is my first signature. So I'm going to put it right there. I've got the word top right there. I'm going to get another clip. All right. So I am going to stitch this into my book. And it's going to go along this one right here. So I need to line it up with those dots. So again, this is really important to be able to see where the dots are so you can line it up. All right, so you go in from the center of the inside and you go over. I'm already not liking this there. Okay, so then this is where you really need to be able to see where the holes are. So here's my hole there, and I'm going to line it up with my hole here. And like I said, I have learned to take my time. There we go. All right. Okay, so now I want that to go in tight. So I've gone in here, I've come back out here. Now I'm going to go this way. And again, I am taking my time. So now, you see this? Bring it over here. But I go back into this hole here. Okay, so now you're going to skip this middle one and you're going to go through this hole here. Now I'm going to go through this hole here. Back on this side. So now I'm going to go through this hole here. And I'm going to connect it with this here. Now, I'm going into this hole here. Ooh, that was so nice. It just slid right in like butter. And it would be nice if they all did that for me, but they don't. And now I'm going to go back into this same hole here. And Let me make sure I've got it through there. Okay, and now I can get it through all of these layers here. Yes, okay. So this needs to be on this side. So you need to straddle that middle thread. Okay, and before I do anything else, I need to tighten it all up. So this is kind of loose, loosey-goosey, I guess. And I want to tighten it all up. Okay, I'm going to make sure, again, that it's all tight. Oh, see these two? I stitched through one of them. So I need to make sure that I get that taken care of. And somehow that got back on the wrong side. Okay, again, I'm checking to make sure this is nice and tight, and it is. And this side is nice and tight, and it is. And now I like to knot it once. Well, that's not a knot. That's a half of a knot, right? Now there's the full knot. And I like to just do it one more time, just for good measure. Okay. And now I'm going to snip. These are fabric scissors. I don't know what they do different for fabric scissors than regular scissors. My little snips that I have from Tim Holtz. These are awesome scissors, but they kind of gnaw at fabric, whereas that's just a nice thing. Okie dokie. So, first signature completed. So now I'm going to repeat that step. I will take my template again. I will remember where the top is. And I'm going to find the center, which is here. And I'm going to use my binder clips. This doesn't have a small page to it at all. So this is going to be very straightforward. Oh, let me make sure that the small got stitched in there real good. Oh, it did. And it got caught 3 times. So, yeah, so that's in there really well. So now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to fold this center fold. This is why we do it with the folds. In fact, I got an even, I think this is the 65-pound paper. This is what I do a lot. Although this was just a 3-1, and I usually do a 4. So forget that. But I have several of these templates just sitting around my very messy desk. You don't even know the half of it. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, but this is why we fold them in the beginning, you know. And so now I'm going to line that up there. And I'm going to put this here. Need to make sure that the top is at the top. Okay. And now I'm going to use the awl, stab it through the book, you know, go through the same process. Now I'm going to find my template again. Here it says top. Here is the 3rd one. And I'm going to clip it here just to start it out. The last one I actually didn't use the book because, and this one I don't need it because the paper is so thin. I only have 5 sheets of paper that I have to go through. I only have like 4 or 5 I have to go through with the other one. It just depends on how thick my paper is. And this is all basically that copy paper size paper. So I'm gonna go make sure I've got some good definite holes. And then I'm gonna stitch it as I did the other one. And I'll let you know whether or not this is an easier without anything, if it's like significantly easier. Okay, just to let you know, it took me every bit as long to stitch this final one as it did the other ones. You know, and they have the complications that I have with the thicker signatures happened with the thinner one. Okay, I want to show you how this is done. Got my top on top. Of course, when I'm actually stitching it into the book, I'm not using this. This is just a template. But I wanted to show you. So you go in through the middle. Okay. And then you come back up through the second one. So far, so good, right? You go in through the top one. Okay. And now you're going to come in through this one again. The hardest thing I have found is splitting my threads because I'm going through the same thing. Now, you're going to skip this one and go in through this one. And this now makes the one that you have to straddle. Come in through the bottom. Okay. Into the next one. Okay. So far, so good. And now you're going to go back in through the very first one. So I have this one over here. And I have this one over here. And this is where I'm going to then tie my knot. I did punch holes and put eyelets in. Okay, so I had several things in my mind, but this is what I ended up doing. I took a button and I went through it. Then I brought it over here and I knotted it. Okay, so that's this one here. Then I added this here. Just kind of looped it through and pulled it through, but I did add a knot to it so it doesn't all fall off. And then I can just tie a bow. I'm very happy with how this turned out. I'm happy that all 3 of those were stitched in on this small page. And I am happy with how this one I like the best. And this was the most like Louisa Heinzel's original idea, foolproof idea. And here is the other half of that. I really like how that turned out. So anyway, if you enjoyed this, please give it a big thumbs up. That means hit the like button and then hit the notification bell so you can see when I am doing another video. Currently, I'm doing them about once a week. And then subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.